Well, the bad news continues, ladies and gentlemen. More heartaches. I mean, with this player, we kind of know what level of injuries that he has, but thought this was meant to be 4 to 5 games, and now it's 3 months. On top of Reece James as well. Apparently, there's some news on Mason Mount. We already know Wesley Fofana not going to feature before the World Cup. Um, yeah, it's just when things were looking good.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Just bad news everywhere, man. How it's all turned around after all the euphoria in the fan base, how happy we've been for the past few days with some sensational victories. And now we're entering into a phase again where some key players, especially Reece James, could possibly be out for a little while. We've done a live stream less than 12 hours ago. Do check that out. That's the latest video that's out there. If you want to know some news about Reece James, obviously we're still waiting on that scan, but there's talks from top sort of journalists out there that cover Chelsea. They're saying he's minimum gone for 6 to 8 weeks. You're potentially not going to see him this year. If you look at it 6 to 8 weeks, then there's World Cup also within that mix of things. And by the time World Cup finishes, I think it's the Christmas period, and you don't expect Reece James to just start immediately. There's going to be a process of him coming off the bench and slowly building up again. And we're going to talk about all of this. But first up, ladies and gentlemen, for me, this is lights out, man. I feel really sad. I really do. N'Golo Kante, he'll have to make a decision. But let's check this news out first. This is from David Ornstein, so not messing about. N'Golo Kante is set to miss World Cup, plus expected to be out for 3 months with hamstring injury suffered in training. Chelsea declining to comment pending 31-year-old midfielder seeing specialist. Contract expires summer after Athletic talk to L'Equipe. So look, where do we stand? The way I look at it, I just tweeted a moment ago that first up, look, Kante's got to make a decision. You're not going to make the World Cup, so that's a blow. That would be 100% devastating. But at least at the end of the day, he's won a World Cup. He's won. Did he win Euros previously? I don't think he did. I think they've just missed out on Euros, didn't they, with Portugal? So maybe he might have internationally prior to that. But look, he definitely has won the World Cup. This one, he's not making it. It's a massive blow. I would suggest, first up, retire from international level. That's number one thing. Secondly, if you want to accept the 1+1 year, I think that's the latest that we're offering. There are rumors now that we will let him probably go for a free. But let's just say, for argument's sake, he ends up accepting the 1+1 that's in offer apparently. Then take that, and you're probably going to be a rotational player. I can't picture how N'Golo Kante now, with the history of his health, how he's going to be potentially a regular starter for us. His body can't maintain it. So it's not even about us not wanting him to be like that. His body can't handle it. And at the end of the day, we're going to have to look after him. So 1+1 year, and it's got to be on a rotational basis. Now, would he accept that this is his last chance? Does he even come to a decision to think maybe it's time to hang up the boots? I mean, this injury, 3 months, that's off the back of 2 months he's already missed. So does it come to a point, and this isn't just this season, for the past 3 seasons minimum, since Sarri days, does it come to a point where you start thinking, is my body capable of doing this anymore? Do I just hang up the boots? I don't know. Bottom line, look, whatever the case is, and if he does decide to leave on a free at the end of the season, he'll go down undoubtedly as a Chelsea legend and arguably one of the best midfielders that we've had at the football club. He'll leave an everlasting legacy at the football club, and he'll be celebrated. His career will 100% be celebrated. But I'm at a point where now, honestly, I'm thinking about revamp, and we'll do a live stream tomorrow sometime talking about the solution for N'Golo Kante, who takes over, what do we do in the market, so on and so forth, and obviously Reece James as well. We'll do a whole live stream on that. With N'Golo Kante for the time being, look, we're in a bit of a pickle because obviously we were using Ruben Loftus-Cheek for the time being and he was doing so well. But I think now we may even have to think about using Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the right wing-back spot because of the Reece James situation. That's just my perspective. Then it leaves us open in the midfield again. So potentially Dennis Zakaria, or I'm starting to think maybe Chukwuemeka. Chukwuemeka probably needs to have a go there now, but we'll do all of this in a live stream tomorrow, talking details. Let's have a look at further news. N'Golo Kante is out for the World Cup, so we've touched on that, which is a devastating blow for him. Chelsea will let Kante leave on a free. The club want 2 new midfielders. This is from L'Equipe. Look, this is highly probable. We're at a stage where we're possibly looking at seeing this guy go out on a free. If after the 3 months somehow he manages to come back to some sort of, way, I suppose, and can stay injury-free from there on in and feature in those odd matches here and there, maybe Chelsea will be inclined to perhaps give him that 1 year plus that 1 year option on top of that. Will he choose that? It's really up to him. But at this stage, I think this is the probable situation where he goes out on a free. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know how you feel about it. Obviously, it's been very emotional with N'Golo Kante news in recent times. Some of you guys want him to stay because it is N'Golo Kante, but then some of you guys are like, it's time to move on. It's time to revamp. And I honestly think it is time to revamp. And there's an exciting news that I want to share down the track from PYS. I think he had a conversation with Ben Jacobs, and as there could be a potential attacking midfielder that we get. Obviously, it's not N'Golo Kante's replacement, but we've been in talks with Jude Bellingham. Apparently, in recent times, Declan Rice is always a particular name that comes into frame. But as I said, tomorrow when we do the live, we can talk about all sorts of solutions. But today, obviously, let's just sink in the news. Now, Chelsea are moving away from appointing a sporting director. Chelsea remains hugely interested in Rafael Leão. Moving away from a sporting director makes me think you are going for Michael Edwards. You're waiting for Michael Edwards, and I am absolutely okay with that. We've recently hired Joe Shields, who's going to be heavily involved with the recruitment side of things. I think he's co-director of recruitment, which is a huge position. We're also getting Christopher Vivell, which should happen very, very soon from Leipzig, and he's coming in as technical director. So it's fine for the time being. If Todd Boehly wants to continue on as the interim sporting director, and he's doing a fairly good job for the time being. Do you know what I mean? Christopher Nkunku, there's talks with Vardiol. So continue on. And then now there's talks, well, not even now. There's been talks about Rafael Leão for a little while, which, Todd Boehly is trying in extreme measures to get this happen. So look, he's doing a very good job. I'm happy to wait around for Michael Edwards and for the time being in the interim, continue on with Todd Boehly. A scan on Thursday revealed Reece James' damaged ligament, which is expected to rule him out for 6 to 8 weeks. We've covered this, as I said, in the previous live stream. Do check that out. Devastating blow to have Reece James gone for 6 to 8 weeks, potentially for the remainder of this year, because obviously the World Cup's just around the corner. So with all these important matches that are coming up before the World Cup, honestly, I thought maybe we're going to probably not have him, obviously, for the Aston Villa game and the Brentford game, but potentially have him back for the Man United game, which is very, very important. Let me just have a quick look at the Brentford scoreline. At the moment, Brentford's winning 2-0, beating Brighton, which is a sensational effort from them. 2 goals from Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney is having a blinder of a season, isn't he? So look, that Brentford game after the Aston Villa game, not going to be easy. 2 away games as well. It's on the road, not having Reece James. Massive blow, man. Massive blow. And creative standpoint, goal scoring standpoint, defensive standpoint. And this is why I'm thinking Ruben Loftus-Cheek is probably the closest thing that comes to perhaps replacing him there. I know Azpilicueta is going to get quite a bit of time there, of course, but I don't like seeing Azpilicueta there on a regular basis. But this is another one that we'll touch on tomorrow in the live stream. Possible solution. We might even get into the tactical board, because right now at times you'll see we've got this formation where it's heavy on the left, where we force either Pulisic or Sterling as the widest left player, and we have the back three sort of shift that way, where I think now we may have to shift on the right side and maybe have either Sterling or Pulisic as a solution on that right wing back spot, and then move some of the centre backs as cover over there. But we'll talk about all of this. It's a devastating news, man. It honestly is a devastating news. Check this out. Here's another injury news, but this isn't as bad. But once again, do you risk it? Do you risk him starting? What is the nature of it at the moment? People are saying it's not that bad, but this is the latest, ladies and gentlemen, from Simon Johnson. Mason Mount is going to have a scan on his thigh injury after missing training with CFC today. Just a precaution at this stage, more here. So we were wondering why he was subbed off at halftime against AC Milan. Perhaps it was the yellow card that definitely probably had a factor as well, but maybe he picked up a knock as well. There was some bruising. Now, look, it's only bruising, so he should recover. Whether he features against Aston Villa from the get-go, don't know. But look, this is probably not as bad, but still, it's just, don't want this, man. Like, we're in such a good run, and I get it, man. Injuries are part and parcel of the game. Things like this are going to happen. And players like Mason Mount, Reece James, N'Golo Kante, they're so dynamic. They don't shy away from challenges. Things like this potentially will happen. But thankfully, this isn't some sort of a long-term thing or even a massively short-term thing either. This is just a bruising. Hopefully he recovers by tomorrow. Luckily, game's on Sunday, so I need Mason Mount to feature, man. No Reece James, no Mason Mount as well. Other people will definitely have to step up big time, because lately, Reece James and Mason Mount, they've been important cogs of the team, man. Important. Mason Mount had treatment on the bruise he received. He should be available for Aston Villa. This is from Nathan Gissing. So hopefully this is the case. Need him to somewhat feature. If it's a start, fantastic. If it's not, off the bench, crucial. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. As I said, PYS, he's been having conversations with Ben Jacobs. Do check out the podcast. I think it's an hour-long discussion, and he goes through many things in that particular discussion. Go and check that out, please, from PYS. I'm hearing growing rumblings of at least Chelsea considering a player like James Maddison. Ladies and gentlemen, this is big, man. I'm down for James Maddison. And this isn't even this season and how he's been doing well in recent times. He's been doing well for the past few seasons. Very important player for Leicester. Creative attacking midfielder, can possibly play just behind, much like that Nkunku, Kai Havertz behind the striker, that kind of a role. It definitely could play as an inside forward as well. I 100% think he's got that quality. These are the level of players that we need. And Leicester are in the mud. This is something that we can potentially do in January and make it happen. Leicester are smack back on the bottom of the table in the Premier League. So we could potentially get him maybe on a bit of a cheap. Leicester needs to raise money as well. They've made losses. We know the financial situation. That's why they didn't go out there and buy a whole heap of players. They didn't want to. They don't have the money. They need to recover some funds and cover for their losses. This is one player, ladies and gentlemen, I would be fully on board with. James Maddison. So much experience in the Premier League. It's mad how he doesn't even feature for England. It really is mad. He's a top baller, absolute top baller. Another player that would be great competition for Mason Mount and Conor Gallagher as well. His creativity, goals from midfield, set pieces. Do you know what I mean? His vision, passing. This is the caliber of player I would love to see at Chelsea Football Club. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know how you feel about James Maddison and all the news that we've gone through. Just so annoying with all of these injuries. Let me know how you feel about N'Golo Kante, where your standpoint is. Reece James as well. What would be your potential solutions? And James Maddison, let me know. Would you fancy him at Chelsea Football Club? I definitely would. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Let's try and get to 500 likes, ladies and gentlemen. If you stuck around throughout this particular video, hope you've enjoyed it. If you're here for the first time, subscribe and 100% smash the like button. Until next time, see ya.